Action.
Hello, welcome back to Exploring Extraordinary Strength. My name's Joss, and Martin you know. We've been looking at this idea of being able to develop these extraordinary strengths of the feet deliberately, consciously. And we've been spending a little bit of time looking at Yi Jin Jing, and that's your speciality in the Zen warrior exercises, and you've been practicing meditation for 20 years and more now. And also through Dandal Baski. Well, some news on that.
Well, yes. I was searching because in the last episode you'll see that we discovered these Dandal Baski exercises were performed by the Maharaja, it was claimed.
Yeah, Mysore, yeah.
Yeah, in Mysore, and you can see in some of those Mysore palace exercises that does look like it matches by the wrestlers there, and they taught the Maharaja and so on. So I started looking into the wrestlers, which is a new area for me and not one that you've touched on much before.
I don't know this side of Indian physical culture.
And it looks like the discipline of doing exercises with visualization and fairly slow does exist almost as their standard.
Okay.
And I believe that this Dandal Baski is actually a mishearing, and in fact we've got some evidence of this. We've gone to Sanskrit and Hindu experts and said, what do these two words mean?
Yeah, so Dandal and Baski themselves aren't translatable from Sanskrit. The closest we got was some kind of Mumbai slang for come here and go away politely or something.
Yes, absolutely, yes. It was yelling, and pretty please or something like that. So
we're pretty sure they're not called yelling pretty please, but they do look like two real Indian exercises. Dand, which is the famous Hindu push-up, and the Bhaskar, which is the Hindu squat. So Dand and Bhaskar seems to make a lot more sense than yelling pretty please to us anyway.
So it's probably just, that's the standard exercises they do, and I think they're probably been named after that feel of that push-up, that squat.
Yeah. But the Dand and Bhaskar, while they're related to feats of great strength, it's more conventional strength we would associate with weightlifting and doing lots of repetitions of push-ups. Not exactly what we're looking for. However, we have come across in a book called Science Studies Yoga by Professor van der Berk, a scientific experiment, I suppose you'd say, or observation of a 93-year-old man demonstrating extreme strength, superhuman strength. How is it described in the book?
Well, this is a really important thing here, is not only did the yogi, who was an elderly yogi, show superhuman
93, I think
something like that.
Yeah.
He had got a chain, a thick chain, and he put this around him, stood on it, and doing, I suppose, a squat.
Yeah,
he broke it. Yeah. And,
so this is the kind of chain that would be used for pulling a truck along.
Yeah, so they found that even with machinery, they couldn't reproduce that break. They could bend it and slowly have it tear off. So he was asked how he did this, and he actually told them that this is through a state called Samadhi. Now, in a second, Joss will describe to you what Samadhi is, but for me, who's studied meditation and Zen, it suddenly fell into place. It was so obvious, it was there all along, that the man who, the father or patriarch of Zen Buddhism, Bodhidharma, his exercises to gain these powers would of course work through Zen.
Yeah, so Samadhi is probably spoken about most in the famous Patanjali Sutras of Yoga. In fact, most of the book is devoted to using this state of Samadhi. It's defined like this. You start off with a state of concentration, and that develops into a state of meditation. Now, the word for meditation in Sanskrit is dhyan, and dhyan becomes the root of Chan. So the Shaolin monks identify themselves as Chan Buddhists. Chan actually then becomes the root of the word Zen. So we have this exact correlation. So the definition of concentration is returning your attention to the same point again and again. Perhaps if you practice meditation, then you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm concentrating, I brought it back, so all this again and again. Dhyan, the state of dhyan, is a state of flow, where you no longer have to keep bringing your attention back to that point. It's a continual flow of attention towards whatever you're meditating.
Just ward off the odd disturbance.
If that, yeah. But Samadhi is something special. Samadhi is where you cease to become aware of yourself and of the fact that you're meditating, and the object of meditation engulfs the meditator. So it's literally all you're aware of. From your point of view, it's like you become the thing you're meditating on, or your sense of self, of who you are as an individual, disappears for a little while and allows you to become anything or everything. So as you say, that extreme focus is absolutely there, but it still has to be flowing, spontaneous.
And we can actually imagine that happening naturally. If your child is under a car, you are going to be in that pure state of focus. You don't be distracted by anything. You would go spontaneously into a Samadhi on lifting.
Yeah.
But didn't you actually, this is the exciting thing, is that you actually remembered, connected an experience you had, which was actually this very thing.
Yeah, well, back in 2002, I was at a yoga retreat in Sweden. And we were working on a series of exercises which is designed to move you towards a state of Samadhi. And during that course, one of the things you do is you'd help out around the ashram, so they call it karma yoga. And my job was to move these heavy potato boxes, to put them onto a wheeled trolley, basically, and drag them out into a field where they could be cleaned with a power hose. And I don't know why exactly, but I started to get interested in this idea of strength. I suppose I wanted to be able to do it more efficiently. It was a very spontaneous thing.
All those guided things that just happened.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah.
So what I decided to do was to stack the trolley up as high as I could. Previously I could move maybe 8 of these boxes at a time. But I remembered, again from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, a sutra which says, by samyama, which is a practice of meditation and samadhi on something, on samyama, on the strength of an elephant, one can acquire it. So I brought to mind the image of an elephant, of its huge lumbering strength, that nothing can really stop that. And I felt that, again, just become part of me. And so then I was able to move this thing stacked as high as I could, balance these heavy potato boxes, these big wooden boxes, and drag that out across the field. People were staring at it because I'm quite a small guy. So I was dragging this out with no effort at all. I didn't feel tired afterwards. If anything, it was easier moving this huge, heavy trolley than to move it with a light weight on it. So I immediately thought there's definitely something to this. But again, it was a spontaneous event. However, recently, Martin and our, I suppose, meditative practices come together a little bit through Zen. Yoga leads naturally into Zen, or has a lot in common with Zen, and your meditation practice started to look at Zen as well. So we went on to a Zen retreat. Was it Sesshin? Was it called Sesshin?
Yes, a Zen retreat, and started to get to these levels of meditative ability. What's very exciting to me is if we look at the techniques, so we look at the Dandal Baski protocol, and we look at Yi Jin Jing.
Yeah.
So we start to look at them a different thing, not just as physical exercise, as almost like an
extension of meditation themselves. Yeah.
You can imagine someone doing their Dandal Baski, practicing that chopping wood movement, getting to the point where his focus is so strong, he's imagining his body doing it, he's imagining it perfect, he's imagining that place. So if he could learn to do that with normal things, that's when that superhuman strength would come in, when there's no mind but the task.
Yeah, and that's the feedback that I've been getting from my own practice of this Dandal Baskar, or Dandan Baskar, and also what my students have been saying as well, that it massively increases focus on the exercise. So it seems that this is a physical way of approaching meditation and samadhi, and through that gaining what we'd think of as superhuman strength.
So what we're going to do now is we'll carry on practicing. I'll carry on with my Chinese Yi Jin Jing, meditation, each muscle. You carry on with your, what we're going to call it from now on?
Yeah, I don't know, Dandan Baskar, I guess.
And we're going to see what the results are to that. The next episode, we're going to explore what are the criteria for success. When would you know that your focus is so much that you have achieved these goals? I mean, obviously, some of these people that do this, they probably hurt themselves. So they achieve it, but they've got a permanently wrecked back, and we're not really looking for that.
No.
What we're looking for is being able to get far more safely out of your body than you would normally view, to the degree where we know that we've gone beyond what we'd normally see as a human potential.
Yeah, I imagine knowing us that we'll end up just setting each other crazy challenges, but that remains to be seen.
So have a look and see what those challenges are on the next episode.